Greetings, it's Iain from RTO here. Hope you're all well. I'm sure a lot of you are now aware. Well, last night, during our live stream, there was two news breaking in the world of music. Firstly, the passing of Alan White, drummer of Yes, sadly left us yesterday, and about half hour later we heard that Andy Fletcher from Depeche Mode had passed, and it was quite to actually be doing a live stream when this news is breaking. Very sad day yesterday, losing two musicians. I'll be doing a Alan White tribute this weekend, and then probably the week after next I shall do a tribute to Andy Fletcher and look at the songs that he played on with Depeche Mode. But today it's all about live albums, and this one is a request from Mick all the way from California. I've sort of got him into this band, and he asked, can we do some live Heep? I went, of course we can. So, we don't have to tell much about Heep. We know they've been a part of the rock scene since the 70s. Lots of people in the band. Sold over 40 million albums. With 4 million of them being in the USA, which is pretty good. But today, we have done their live studio stuff, but today we're looking at those live albums. Now there's 14. I've got 14. I haven't got the official bootleg series because a lot of them albums I've got versions of, and you know me, I won't buy things twice because I can't see the point in that. So I've got 14. Well, I've got 15 because one of them is actually an official, going to be an honourable mention because it's not an official album. Naughty Iain. But let's start with those 14 official ones. Now, I like all of them. There's not one bad Uriah Heep live album. I prefer others more than others, and sometimes it's down to production. Like the first one. So the first one coming in at number 14 is Live in Moscow, recorded in 1988 in Moscow, of course, and released in 88, and it was recorded in 1987. The band at the time were Mick Box on the guitars, Lee Kerslake on the drums, Trevor Boulder on the bass, Phil Lawson on the keyboards, and Bernie Shaw. This was Bernie Shaw's first tour, one of the first sort of shows he did with the band. I saw them on this tour as well. This one opens up with Birds of Prey. Great little track that one is. Stealing. Love that track, one of my favourites. Too Scared to Run. Great track from Abominog. Karina, one of the newer ones off the Raging Silence. Mr. Majestic, Raging Silence. The Wizard, July Morning, Easy Living, That's the Way It Is, Pacific Highway, Gypsy, Rockorama, and Heartache City. It's a good album. It's got some really good strong songs on it, but I don't know what they did with the production on this, because it does sound so 80s. I don't get it, because I saw them on this tour and they didn't, and the contrast between this live version and the version I saw are different. When I saw them, they were hard, they were heavy, the keyboard sounded really good. I don't know what they've done to this. It's a shame, because it was a fantastic show, but I still like listening to it because obviously I saw them on this tour and it's quite fun memories. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 13, we have a little album recorded in 2001 Acoustically Driven. This was part of a DV set and VHS. It's got Mick Box on it again, Lee Kerslake, Trevor Boulder, Phil Lands and Bernie. Got some additional musicians on this. The one and only Mr. Iain Anderson, who played flute on Circus and Blind Eye. Then the Uriah Heep Classic Rock Music Ensemble, which was Lee Chae-Yin Liu on one violin, Sarah Chi Liu on another violin, Saskia Tompkins on viola, Pauline Kirk on cello, and Stefan Halligan on Ulanium pipes and percussion, Melvin Duffy on the pedal steel and slide guitar, Pip Williams did some acoustic guitar on Lady in Black, Kim Chandler on the flute on a couple of tracks, Emma Robbins, Billy Godfrey on the backing vocals. Really good selection of songs on this. We had Where Do You Go, The Easy Road, Echoes in the Dark, Come Back to Me, Cross That Line, Golden Palace, Shadows of the Wind, Wonder World, A Different World, Circus, which is fantastic with Iain Anderson, like Blind Eye, Traveller in Time, More Fool You, Lady in Black, and then we had this little medley of The Wizard, Paradise and Circle of Hands, which was great. Really good listen. These songs really fitted to an acoustic sound, which doesn't sometimes work with some bands, but it worked with Uriah Heep, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, then coming in at number 12, we go to 2014 now, to an album called Live at Coco, which is a venue in Camden Town, recorded in 2014. The band now on this one is Bernie Shaw, Mick Box and Phil Lanson, with Davey Rimmer on bass and Russell Gilbrook on the drums. Opens up with Against All the Odds, Overload, Traveller in Time, Sunrise, Stealing, firm favourite with the fans, I'm Ready, Between Two Worlds, which is a fantastic song, Can't Take That Away, 1 Minute, Nail on the Head, Into the Wild, the fantastic Gypsy, Look at Yourself, then a little bit of Wah Wah from Mr. Box, the brilliant July Morning, Lady in Black, Free and Easy, and Easy Living. Great show, music from all the eras, but what lets it down on this one again is that production. The bass is too bassy in places and it drowns everything out, and the drums don't sound right, which is a shame because Russell Gilbrook is an excellent drummer and he plays really well on these tracks, and it's a shame the mix didn't sound quite right. I mean, it's still an enjoyable album, and I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay, coming in at number 11, got to that album. It was recorded at the Classic Rock Festival in Trenton, New Jersey, on the 5th and 6th of October 2002, and the album is live in the USA, released in 2003. On here we've got that very stable lineup of Mick Box, Lee Kerslake, Trevor Boulder, Phil Lanson and Bernie Shaw. Opens up, and you don't get this very often on live stuff, Rainbow Demon, absolutely stonking version. Easy Living, classic The Wizard, Return to Fantasy, great track. Tales, one of the newer tracks at the time, Heartless Land, which is a really nice acoustic-y sounding one, really good. Blind Eye, The Other Side of Midnight, That's the Way It Is, and The Magician's Birthday, which is always good fun. This is also an album that was full of a mixture of acoustic numbers and electric, really worked well. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 10, this was an album recorded at the Music Hall in Cologne in 1994. The album was released in 1996 and it's Spellbinder Live. Again, we've got Mick, Lee, Trevor, Phil and Bernie. This one opens up with The Devil's Daughter. Great track. Stealing, Bad Man, Rainbow Demon again, Worlds in the Distance, really good version of that. The Wizard, always a good track. Circle of Hands, which is brilliant. Gypsy, you just can't go wrong with these things. Look at Yourself. Lady in Black and Easy Living. This also features a studio track called Sail the Rivers. It's a pretty good track. It's got a really nice bass line from Trevor Bolder. Phil's keyboards sound fantastic on this. You get the usual Mick box solo, lots of wah-wah. What more can you say? Great little track. Well, it's 6 minutes 52, so it's quite a long one, but it's really good. And it's a solid album. Some great playing on this. Sounds great. It does actually sound like they're playing in your front room, or your bed, or in my case, my huge room. And because it's Germany, they know how to produce a good live album. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay, coming in at number 9, we got a concert that was recorded in Yerevan in Armenia in 2009. The album was released in 2011, live in Armenia. This is Bernie, Mick, Phil, Trevor and Russell on the drums because Lee had retired. Opens up with Wake the Sleeper. Now it's a great instrumental, that is. It's a great track, and live it's so heavy. Ooh, I love it. Overload, Tearsome World, Stealing Again, Book of Lies, Gypsy, Look at Yourself, What Kind of God, Angels Walk With You, Shadow, July Morning, Easy Living, Sunrise, Sympathy. Don't get that very often. It's not a bad version. And Lady in Black, another great album. I've loved playing all these again. Playing them all after each, not literally always after each other, but over a period of 5 or 6 days, I played the whole of this collection, and I enjoyed every one again. And I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, then coming in at number 8, we've got a album recorded at the Astoria Theatre in London in 2001, Electrically Driven. On here we've got Mick Box, Lee Kerslake, Trevor Bolder, Phil Lanson and Bernie Shaw. Special guest again, the one and only Mr. Iain Anderson. This one opens up with Return to Fantasy, one of my favourite tracks. I love the start of that, it's great. Universal Wheels, which is a brilliant track. Lots of atmosphere on that one. Birds of Prey, Stealing Again, Between Two Worlds, I Hear Voices, Come Away Melinda, which they don't do very often. And then you got Circus and Blind Eye again with Iain Anderson on the flute, wonderful. Sunrise, Gypsy, July Morning, Easy Living. I've seen this on telly. On YouTube. It's one that you can find on YouTube, and it's brilliant, especially Iain Anderson on Circus. He plays it wonderful. Great album. I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.6. Okay, then coming in number 7, an album that was recorded on the European tour of 1979. It's called Live in Europe. This features Trevor Bolder on the bass, Lee Kerslake on the drums, Mick Box on the vocals, keyboards, guitar and vocals Mr. Ken Hensley, vocals Mr. John Lawton. On this one we've got Easy Living, Look at Yourself, Lady in Black, Free Me, Stealing as Ever, The Wizard, July Morning, Falling in Love, which is absolutely wonderful live. So much better than in the studio version. Woman of the Night is great. I'm Alive, great. Who Needs Me, a great version of Sweet Lorraine. Free and Easy, Gypsy, Live album with Mr. John Lawton, and the songs they choose off, I don't know which one it is now, but they sound much better live than they did in the studio. They are great songs, and this is a great album. John Lawton had a great voice. You know, taking over from David Byron is a big job, but he did the job fantastically, of course. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.8. Okay, coming in at number 6. This was recorded on the German tour in 1999 in Aschaffenburg and Munich, and it's Future of Echoes of the Past, released in 2000. So we're back with Bernie Shaw, Mick Box, Phil Lanson, Trevor Bolder and Lee Kerslake. One of the best versions of Between Two Worlds. Brilliant. I Hear Voices is brilliant on here. Stealing, Universal Wheels is fantastic on here. Time of the Revelation, Only the Young, Sweet Freedom, brilliant track. Rain, Feels Like Sunrise, Heartless Land, Shelter from the Rain, Love in Silence, July Morning, Birds of Prey, Gypsy, Everything in Life, brilliant version of that. Easy Living, Question, Look at Yourself, and Lady in Black, belter of an album, absolutely belter. These two nights they recorded on, the band were in such fine form. There's got some really good versions of these classics. Bernie sings them brilliantly. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 5 is an album that was recorded for a radio broadcast in 1974. Live at Shepperton 74, released in 1986. It was recorded in a studio, so it's in a studio but live, things that they used to do in them days. So this features, of course, David Byron, Mick Box, Ken Hensley, Gary Thane, Lee Kerslake, that classic lineup. So we've got Easy Living on here, So Tired, I Won't Mind, Something or Nothing, Stealing, Love Machine, The Easy Road, and that rock and roll medley they used to do. Brilliant. It's just magical. It is hard, raw, as I say, plug in and go rock. Just a magical thing, and captures that great lineup. Very short, but it's a really good listen. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.2. Okay, again, coming in at number 4, another concert recorded at the Astoria Theatre in 2003, and it's called A Magic Night. And this features John Lawton, former singer, and Heather Finley of Mostly Autumn. And the rest of the band, of course, is Mick Box, Lee Kerslake, Trevor Bolder, Phil Lanson and Bernie Shaw. Got Easy Living, Shadows of Grief, Cry Freedom, Pilgrim, really sounds good on this. Bad Man, Devil's Daughter. What a version of Wise Man. Absolutely stonking version. Probably the best version I've got of Wise Man. And I'm saying the same with Firefly. Great versions of two of Lawton's finest songs. Heartless Land, Free Me, The Wizard, Love in Silence, Been Away Too Long, Stealing, Too Scared to Run, and The Other Side of Midnight. Another great album. Lovely to hear these Lawton-led songs of Wise Man and Firefly. Great to hear Heather on this as well. It's a great album, and I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 9.2. Okay, then coming in at number 3, it's a live album done by the King Biscuit Flower Hour, recorded in San Diego, 1974. Got a few band albums on the King Biscuit Flower. This one is brilliant. It has got David Byron on it, Mick Box, Gary Thane, Lee Kerslake and Ken Hensley. Again, just very short, one album, but it just captures some great tracks. Easy Living, always a firm favourite. Sweet Lorraine, probably one of the best versions I've got of that. Stealing, stonking version of July Morning. 7 Stars, Gypsy sounds fantastic on here. Then we get a Lee Kerslake drum solo in the middle of Gypsy towards the end. Sweet Freedom, stonking version. Look at Yourself, Love Machine, and the Rock and Roll medley. David Byron was an absolute top form for this with the crowd. Really knew how to work the crowd, did David. And it's just a magical listening of the classic lineup. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.3. Coming in at number 2 then, an album recorded in 2001 at the Shepherd's Bush Empire, The Magician's Birthday Party. This included Ken Hensley and John Lawton that lined up with Mick Box, Lee Kerslake, Trevor Bolder, Phil Lanson and Bernie Shaw. Backing up singers were Emma Robbins, Kim Chandler and Eileen McCaulin. Opens up with Return to Fantasy. Absolutely killer version. I think after David, Bernie's the best person that sings that. It's terrific. Then Tales and Sweet Pretender just sound wonderful. I'll Keep on Trying, really good. July Morning is how they introduced Bernie says on the keyboards Mr. Ken Hensley, and you get that lovely start to July Morning. Great version, you know, having Phil and Ken on there just gave it an extra depth, and it was brilliant. Then they go into Paradise and the Spell. This is fantastic on here. The best version of it, without a doubt. Lee's backing vocal on Paradise is magic. He's such an underrated singer, Lee was, and he hit them notes perfectly in Paradise. Then we get Circle of Hands. Then Magician's Birthday, what a great version, and I love what happens in this. You get the Mick Box solo, lots of shredding, wah wah, and when it starts up again with the dun 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 dun, out comes John Lawton to start singing it, and then Bernie joins in. Terrific version. And then they go straight into Sympathy. And hearing John sing that live is brilliant, because he's got all that he used to do. It is this terrific. Best version of that I've got. You got Ken playing on it as well. Everyone is having such fun. Free and Easy, Sunrise and Easy Living. This is just an amazing album. It's off. You've got the show as well that's on. You get more tracks on the DVD. You get interviews. It is a brilliant package. It's probably one of my favourite Uriah Heep moments. It is just brilliant to see John Lawton and Ken Hensley, Mick Box, Lee and Trevor all working together again was fantastic. And there was a lot of fun in it. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 9.4. Okay, number 1. Well, it was only going to be one Uriah Heep album, wasn't it? Uriah Heep Live. Recorded in the British tour. Some of it was done in Birmingham and such places. In 1973. It's the classic lineup: David Byron, Mick Box, Gary Thane, Lee Kerslake and Ken Hensley. Opens up with the brilliant version of Sunrise. Sweet Lorraine's really good on here. Great version of Travel in Time. Easy Living. July Morning. Brilliant on here. One of David's finest moments in Uriah Heep live, singing that there. Tears in My Eyes, stonking version. Gypsy's brilliant on here. Circle of Hands, Look at Yourself. Then you get a little snippet of Magician's Birthday. Such a shame we haven't got the full version with David singing it. The ever popular Love Machine and that rock and roll medley. Brilliant live album. Okay, there may be a little bit of tweaking here and there, but it does capture that classic lineup. It's a fantastic album. I play it to death, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.5. But that's not the end of it today. So I have got an honourable mention. Now the reason I've put this one in, because this is a little album that I found at a record fair on CD, and it is London at the Camden Palace, recorded in 1985. Now the reason I got this is because this is the tour that I very first time I saw Uriah Heep with. They'd just opened up the Derngate in Northampton, which is quite a big place now, and the first two bands I had was The Clash and Uriah Heep. This was on the Equator tour. So on here we've got Pete Golby, Mick Box, John Sinclair and Trevor Boulder and Lee Kersley. This opens up with the brilliant Sell Your Soul. I just remember seeing this. You know, the first time I was so excited that I was actually going to see Uriah Heep. You know, I was 18, 19, not very old, and there I was going to see one of my favourite rock bands. They come on stage and they blew me away with Sell Your Soul. Just amazing. Stealing, The Other Side of Midnight, Too Scared to Run is brilliant on this. Rockorama. Now on the studio it doesn't sound very good, but live it sounds brilliant. Angel, The Wizard, Bad Blood, brilliant live. Heavier. Gypsy, That's the Way It Is, sounds really good live. And Look at Yourself. I love this album. Very special to me. To actually have an album of the first time you ever saw one of your favourite bands is pretty special. And I thought Pete Golby was a great singer. But the tracks from that era they do sound a lot better live. Even Angel sounds better live. So it was a surprise to find this, and I'm so glad I've got it. It's not the best recording, but it's a special recording. Okay, that's all. Hope Mick enjoys that. I'm sure he will. Go out and listen to some live Heep. I'll be back later with a brand new album review, and we're looking at another great band from the 70s. I've just released a new album. We're talking about Nazareth, an album called Surviving the Law. So join me for that if you like your 70s rock. And just to remind you that I'm doing another video with Mr. Richard McCook tomorrow, and we're picking our top 10 Genesis songs. So check out for that on Richard's channel tomorrow. I'll probably put it up on RTO on Sunday, because also tomorrow I am recording the Alan White tribute. So busy weekend for me. I'll be back later with a bit of Nazareth. So bye for now.